So this year is starting to come to an end, which means one thing. Big sales are going to be coming up. We got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we got, just the general Christmas, New Year's sales, and all of that type of stuff. They're going to be starting sooner than we think. And so because the year is wrapping up, we're kind of getting down to the end of new releases as well. Sure, some could still pop up. I think there have been a few that were announced earlier on that still haven't hit yet, right? But I would say for the most part, it's looking like that's kind of a wrap. So what I wanted to do was go over some brand new releases that I think are actually worth picking up, just in case you're starting to get the itch that you might want to be dropping some money and trying to experience some of these new releases with all of these sales that are going to be coming up. These are some of the ones that I would be looking out for, because some of these have already hit discounters and they've already have a nice discount off a retail price. Others, they're so new that they're not there yet. So with that being said, I would be on the lookout for these coming up, because I would imagine that these are going to be going really quickly during all of those sales. Just typically, that's the time of year where everybody's buying. And so I'm just going to essentially highlight some of my favorite releases of the year so far. So this first one is one of the most highly anticipated fragrances of the year, it seems like, because it was a really, really slow burn as far as getting this one out there, but we finally have it. It's the new Versace Eros Energy, kind of marketed as a summertime scent that we're just now getting our hands on here in September. And so what this one is in a nutshell is a big lemon lime bomb off the opening. Complete citrus right off the rip. Punchy, sour, strong. That's all you get when you first spray it on. I mean, go watch my first impressions. I was not expecting that in the slightest, but it's there and definitely gives off the impression of a bright summer scent. I mean, just smelling that opening, really, really high impact, powerful citrus. It smells great. I love the opening. Now, as it starts to dry down, you do get some similarities to like a Mont Blanc Explorer / Creed Aventus style a little bit, but not fully. It still kind of maintains that citrus punch even later on. It smells nothing like the original Eros, really smells nothing like Flame either. It really stands on its own. And I wasn't sure what to expect. I was honestly kind of thinking it was going to be more in line of Eros Flame, but just a little bit brighter, which it is considerably brighter, but again, it doesn't have any relation to Eros Flame. You know, that one has kind of an orange along with it, some vanilla, black pepper, things like that. There's hardly any sweetness to this one. I think it is a really solid release. I wish we would have gotten it sooner on, because then I would have been able to really get some time wearing it in the warmer months. But even just spending some time with it here, it has been a really, really fun one to wear. Really easy to gravitate towards. My wife loves it as well. I've got samples of this one up on my website as well, along with a few other new releases and just a bunch of other stuff too. We're trying to slowly build that selection up as each day goes by. You know, we're gonna throw in free samples with every sample order as well. And so just kind of something that you can look into if you don't want to drop money on full bottles with how ridiculous these prices are these days. Keep checking back to us, because like I said, we're updating that inventory on a daily basis. Okay, this next one is by far a no-brainer. If you can secure a bottle of this one for a price that is not completely insane, like what I paid, for example, then it's worth getting. It's the new Invictus Aqua 2024. So be fully aware that this is going to be a bit harder to get. It's kind of a travel exclusive, and so it's not going to have the reach that all of these others for the most part have, where you can pick them up at Macy's or Sephora or whatever. Unfortunate. I don't know why they're doing it that way, but they are. And again, this is new. It says Rabanne, not Paco Rabanne. And then you have the R logo on top as well. That's how you would differentiate this with, older bottles of Invictus Aqua 2016, for example. Okay, so just some new details there. But it's true, this one is kind of reviving that Invictus Aqua 2016 smell, which I absolutely love, and it's highly coveted in the fragrance community. I mean, so many people were striving to get to that, and still there's a market for Aqua 2016. Very high prices on eBay, but people are still paying it. They're still trying to hunt it down. Like I said, if you can get a bottle of this for an okay price, it's worth it. But I'm not saying that everybody should go out there and pay what the prices are going for it right now, because it's definitely price gouging. I participated in that in the form of I made a purchase myself, but I did it for the channel. I wanted to cover it, and I wanted to at least get the information out there to see if it would in fact be a reinterpretation of Invictus Aqua 2016, which it is. And I paid a lot for it, but I'm happy to have it. Okay, next up we have L'Homme Ideal Parfum by Guerlain. It's got amaretto, leather, almond, patchouli, absolute work of art. I don't know for sure if this one will ever surpass the extreme version, which is probably my #1 favorite. I'll tell you, I do think there's a chance that this could pass up the Eau de Parfum, so I think it might go extreme, parfum, EDP. Sounds crazy because I love the Eau de Parfum as well, and I've been a fan of that one for years, but this is so, so good. It's a really nice kind of boozy take. Nice leather accord in here as well, which is a bit different. I think they might use some leather in the intense version, which has a bunch of smoke and stuff, but they're not using that really in the Eau de Parfum or the extreme or anything like that. It's just a really nice touch. Really, really nice, smooth, creamy blend. And I really wasn't expecting anything less, to be fair, because this whole line is rock solid, except for maybe Sport, which is just a little bit of an oddball. Everything else has been top tier releases. And so I figured this one was going to be good, but it is like really, really good and already on discounters, one that you can get for a reasonable price, and it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Gentleman Society Extreme. This is worlds better than the original Society, which I'm really not a huge fan of. I mean, you don't see that one brought up here on my channel that much because I just don't see much of a need for it compared to all of the other things that we have access to. This one, however, is definitely worth a try. Got coffee, iris, and vanilla, but really a nice focus on the coffee. Strong roasted coffee beans, very realistic, authentic smelling coffee, which I'm a big fan of. That note is becoming more popular as each year goes by, it seems, but it's still underutilized in my opinion. It'll never get to the popularity level of something like Ambroxan or oud or leather, you know, those specialty fragrances, or iris, where each brand kind of does that. I don't think it'll ever get there, but it is becoming more common, which I'm okay with because I love how coffee presents in fragrances when it's done like this, where it's the focal point and it smells really nice. I'm a coffee drinker myself. I love the taste, I love the smell, and so if it has coffee in it that I can pick up on, I like it. Not everybody's gonna like that. It just depends on what you're into. But if you do want a really nice coffee scent with a bit of iris as well, check out the new Gentleman Society Extreme. Now we're gonna move into Armani Code Eau de Parfum 2024. So I'm gonna have to clarify that for here on out, especially if some people just don't watch the videos, but instead they listen. You know, I understand some people use these as like, you know, podcast style, where you're just listening while you're doing something else. This is the new release, and I guess it's a new video, so it makes sense. So the bottle looks like this. It's refillable, you know, the new style. And I have to clarify that because there is actually a difference between this and the old Armani Code EDP, which I didn't think there would be. That's why I was so late to getting to this one, because it was launched, saw it online, and I'm like, oh, it's just a rebottle. Why would I get that if I have the old bottle? Then I started seeing some rumors about it smells like Armani Code Profumo, and from there I had to get it, and yeah, checks out. It actually smells quite a bit like Armani Code Profumo, which is incredible because that one is discontinued. Also happened to be one of their best releases in my opinion. Code Profumo and Code Absolu, just two of the best. And so they're bringing it back here. It's not exact, it's not one-to-one, but it's very close. It's definitely closer to Code Profumo than not. And so it just has that really strong focus on tonka bean and this almost kind of root beer fizzy smell with a lot of amber that people have described Code Profumo as in the past, like a root beer. It sounds weird, but when you start smelling these and you think about it in that way, you kind of see what people are talking about, and it's really nice. It's a cool way that this one presents itself. We're gonna go from one Armani to another with Stronger With You Tobacco. Made it pretty good in my recent top 10 fall designers list, because I really think it's a solid release from the brand here. And it's a true tobacco scent where they're focusing on it, not too extreme. It's a nice mild but prominent kind of red pipe tobacco smell, but still you're getting other accompanying notes like vanilla and chestnut and tonka, which is used in all of the other Stronger With Yous as well. So it ties it back to those, But that also just kind of ties it back into being a wearable, modern day designer scent in the way that pretty much everybody who smells this on you will like it. You know, there's nothing that is daring or off-putting about this one, because sometimes, depending on how it's used, tobacco can kind of, you know, be a little bit stringent sometimes. But given it's a designer brand and this line is based around just getting compliments for the most part, they did it right here with this one. Definitely think it's worth picking up, especially if you like this line already and you want to continue adding to it. This is a good addition because none of the others have tobacco. Now, this next one really surprised me in the fact that, well, one, I just never thought we would see this because it's been years since the original was released. But then it also surprised me because it's better than what I thought it was going to be. It's Bulgari Man in Black Parfum. I have to admit, when I saw this one, you know, launched, or announced, I should say, before you could actually buy it, I was so excited because Man in Black is one that was getting pretty popular back when I first started out. So part of it's like, man, you know, that brings back memories of when I was starting out and everything was new to me. You know, Man in Black, hey, that was new, right? And then now we're getting another new one years and years later. But it also surprised me and made me excited because one of the main downsides to the original has been performance. It doesn't hold up. Now, keep in mind, you know, Bulgari Man in Black often gets compared to Spice Bomb. So when you're putting them side by side, which one performs better? It's Spice Bomb. So it has big shoes to fill. So I was also thinking, well, coming in at a Parfum, maybe they'll fix the performance. And actually, they did. Now, it's still not completely insanely beast mode, but it is an improvement over the original Man in Black Eau de Parfum in terms of performance. You're getting the spices here. You're getting a little bit of iris as well, which gives it a nice kind of slightly smooth smell. Now, don't get carried away and think it smells like Dior Homme Intense or anything like that. Definitely not. Very, very minor touch of iris. Get a bit of benzoin in here as well, kind of acting as a dusty, powdery vanilla accord. This one just comes together very nice, and I do think it is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And to me, at this point, it makes more sense to just get this, and I think that this kind of makes the Eau de Parfum obsolete. I really don't think you need to own both. I think this is the better of the two. Now, running down to the end, this next one is gonna be controversial because, well, I've already explained this before, but it's just, you waited this long for a new release from them and this is what you get type of thing. That sucks. That was a big letdown. But then every time I'm down here, I smell this and I wear it and I'm like, as much as it annoys me that I like it, I really like it, and it kind of ticks me off. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Super Legera. I mean, everybody's on the same page. Last men's release was Bleu de Chanel Parfum years ago. We think they're going to drop some revolutionary new release, and then they just do a Allure Homme Sport flanker. I mean, really? But you know what? They did it really good, and it smells amazing. This might be better than Allure Homme Sport for me. It just might be. I don't think it'll ever top Allure Homme Sport Extreme. It definitely is better than the Cologne version. And this is probably never going to be better than any of the Bleu de Chanel's, right, as far as just my opinion. But I do see myself in the future reaching for this one a lot more than I would for Allure Homme Sport, which, by the way, I love. But there's something about this one that is really special. It's just, it's a different interpretation on that smell. Has still some of the creamy aldehydes and things like that, but the opening, it kind of has, which some people compare to as like a bit of a Creed Aventus cologne type of opening. And you do see that a little bit. Not enough to make this a clone of Creed Aventus cologne or anything, you know, similar to that, but you can see where maybe there can be some connections made. Neither here nor there. I like how it smells. Now, you're probably never going to really be able to get this one below retail because that's just how it is with Chanel, but it is a really nice smelling scent, and I'm glad I have it. And last up for this video, one that you're probably expecting to see, and well, it's here. It is Jean Paul Gaultier Les Beaux Paradise Garden, a greener and fresher take on the original and the Les Parfums. That's this one in a nutshell. It's got some coconut fig and then mint, green notes, watery notes, all of that stuff. It is probably what a lot of people would argue is one of the best releases of the year. Definitely one of the most popular, which I agree with. I do think this is one of the best of the year, because really what they've done is they've reworked that DNA in a way that provides value, because the Eau de Toilette and the Le Parfum are both still very sweet. And even though they have a summery kind of tropical smell to them, they're very sweet. And that doesn't work for a lot of people in hot, humid climates. You know, it's too much. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this one still does have some sweetness to it, just not to the level as those other ones. So it does freshen it up and lighten it up and make it a bit easier to pull off when it's hot outside. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some of the best releases of the year that I think are worth buying and worth watching out for if you can get them for a good price when they're going to be on sale coming up. Like I said, I've got samples to a couple of these new ones over at my website, first link down below, and then just other random stuff that's been out for a while available as well. We've got some of the best prices around, free samples in every order, free shipping over $59, and then every now and then we're running big bundles where if every dollar you spend gets you entered into winning a big fragrance bundle. Last time it was 24 fragrances worth over $4,000 retail. One of you guys took that home. So make sure you go shop over there. We're going to continue building up our inventory as the days go by. We're going to start adding more and more perfumes or women's fragrances as well, just to try to give you as many options as you want. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.